Across Canada, a quiet but powerful shift is taking place. Not in the streets, but in stores, dealerships, and online carts. Canadians are increasingly making conscious choices to support their local economy, driven by a sense of national pride and economic pragmatism. The Buy Canadian movement, once a whisper, has become a national chorus, reshaping how Canadians spend. This movement is not just about buying products, it's about investing in the future of the country, ensuring that local businesses thrive and that jobs remain within the community. Sparked by rising trade tensions with the US, Canadians are rethinking a century-old economic relationship. The uncertainty and unpredictability of international trade have made many Canadians realize the importance of self-reliance and economic independence. Aggressive US trade policies and rhetoric have made many question their reliance on an unpredictable partner. The imposition of tariffs and the threat of trade wars have only strengthened the resolve of Canadians to support their own economy. Everyday purchases have become acts of economic patriotism, a subtle but firm pushback against American overreach. By choosing Canadian-made products, consumers are sending a clear message. They value their country's economic sovereignty. Tariffs on Canadian industries and threats to cultural sectors have galvanized consumers to support local businesses and manufacturers. This grassroots movement is not just about resistance, it's about building a stronger, more resilient economy. The movement now touches every corner of the economy, from groceries to travel and investment. Canadians are rediscovering the value of their own products and services, and this renewed focus is driving innovation and growth across various sectors. The message is clear. Canada is looking inward, rediscovering its own capacity for innovation and self-sufficiency. This shift is fostering a new era of creativity and entrepreneurship, as Canadians take pride in their ability to compete on the global stage. This quiet rebellion is fast becoming a defining statement of Canadian economic identity, with lasting consequences for both nations. As the movement grows, it is reshaping the landscape of Canadian commerce and setting the stage for a more self-sufficient and prosperous future. The shift isn't just talk. Data backs it up. A September 2025 Ipsos poll found 56% of Canadians intentionally bought more Canadian-made products in just 2 weeks. Even more, 58% avoided American goods, services, and travel. This is an active boycott, not a passive preference. Canadians are scrutinizing labels and demanding authenticity. Companies exaggerating their Canadianness risk losing over half their customers. Billions are being redirected to local producers, creating a powerful economic ripple. The checkout counter has become a battleground, with consumers wielding their wallets as tools of economic self-defense. In this trade dispute, the most potent weapon is the collective will of Canadian shoppers. The Buy Canadian movement's fire was lit by former US President Donald Trump's aggressive trade tactics and rhetoric. His bold declarations and combative speeches about renegotiating trade deals sent shockwaves across the border, stirring anxiety and anger among Canadians. Suddenly, trade wasn't just about economics. It was about pride, respect, and national dignity. Tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, justified as national security, felt like a deep insult to a loyal ally. For Canadian workers and businesses, these measures threatened livelihoods and seemed to question the very foundation of the Canada-US partnership. The sense of betrayal ran deep, fueling frustration and a desire to push back. Trump's public criticisms and threats, especially against Canadian culture, turned trade disputes into personal affronts. Headlines blared with stories of escalating tensions, and Canadians watched as their country was singled out on the world stage. The rhetoric wasn't just political, it felt like an attack on Canadian values and identity. For many, this was about more than economics. It was about defending sovereignty and identity. Canadians from all walks of life, young and old, urban and rural, rallied together, united by a common cause. The movement became a symbol of resistance, a way to stand up for what it means to be Canadian. Canadians responded by making every purchase a statement of defiance. Shopping habits shifted almost overnight, as people scrutinized labels and made conscious choices to support local producers. Grocery stores and retailers saw a surge in demand for Canadian goods, and "Buy Canadian" became a rallying cry. The Trump effect weaponized consumer sentiment, transforming shopping into protest. Ordinary citizens found power in their wallets, using everyday decisions to send a message. Supporting Canadian businesses became an act of patriotism, and communities came together to lift up their own. American brands, once welcomed, now face suspicion and backlash. Shelves that once displayed popular U.S. products began to empty, as consumers turned away from familiar names. The shift was visible, and the message was clear. Canadians were choosing loyalty over convenience. In trying to secure a better deal for America, Trump inadvertently taught Canadians the value of buying from themselves. Local entrepreneurs and small businesses found new champions in their communities, and the movement sparked a renewed sense of pride in homegrown products. The result, a costly lesson for U.S. businesses and a united Canadian consumer base. What began as a trade dispute became a turning point, reminding Canadians of their collective strength and the power of standing together in the face of adversity. The Buy Canadian movement's impact is immediate and real for businesses. This movement, driven by a surge in national pride and a desire to support local economies, is reshaping the retail landscape across Canada. American companies, once assured of Canadian market access, are now facing resistance. The shift in consumer preferences is palpable, with many Canadians opting to buy local over imported goods. Parasol Co.'s Canadian launch was halted due to anti-American sentiment. This is just one example of how the movement is affecting international brands. Jack Daniel's and GT's Living Foods lost shelf space. These brands, once popular, are now being sidelined in favor of Canadian alternatives. Canadian brands are seizing the moment. Royale diapers shipments quadrupled, reflecting a significant boost in demand for homegrown products. And Grime Eater is replacing U.S. competitors. This shift is not just about preference, but also about trust and loyalty to local businesses. Every dollar lost by an American brand is a gain for a Canadian one, creating a dynamic shift in market shares, fueling local growth and jobs. This economic shift is providing new opportunities for Canadian workers and entrepreneurs. U.S. companies are rethinking strategies, trying to navigate this new landscape and find ways to regain their foothold, with some scrapping Canadian expansions entirely. The uncertainty and resistance are too high a risk for some. Brand loyalty is no longer enough. Consumers are making more informed choices, prioritizing products made within their own borders. Country of origin now matters most. This newfound awareness is reshaping purchasing habits. The Canadian market has become unpredictable, with rapid changes in consumer behavior and market dynamics, with patriotism driving purchasing decisions. This patriotic fervor is a powerful force in the marketplace. For American exporters, the landscape is tougher than ever. Navigating tariffs, trade policies, and consumer sentiment is a complex challenge. For Canadian businesses, it's a rare and powerful opportunity. They are thriving in this new environment, capitalizing on the growing support for local products. Baby boomers are the driving force behind the Buy Canadian movement. 70% of Canadians aged 59 and over now prioritize Canadian-made products, and 71% avoid American goods. With significant purchasing power, boomers' choices have immediate market impact. Their strong national identity and memories of a more distinct Canada fuel their commitment. They demand authenticity. 58% would abandon brands falsely claiming to be Canadian. Unlike younger generations, boomers' habits are ingrained, giving the movement stability and momentum. Their leadership ensures the movement's impact will be both significant and sustained. Is this a temporary protest or a permanent shift? The data points to permanence. 82% of Canadians who change their habits plan to keep buying Canadian even after the crisis. The movement has broken old habits and forged new loyalties. Consumers have discovered the quality of Canadian goods. American exporters can no longer assume lost market share will return. Rebuilding trust will require more than low prices. It demands genuine connection and respect. Government support, like tariff relief loans, is reinforcing this shift. The result, a more resilient, self-reliant Canadian economy. The partnership between patriotic consumers and local businesses is here to stay. The Buy Canadian movement is redrawing North America's economic map. The era of seamless US-Canada trade is over. The border is now a real economic and psychological divide. American exporters face permanent loss of market share unless they adapt, investing locally and rebuilding trust. For Canada, this is both an opportunity for growth and a risk of protectionism. Policymakers must balance patriotism with openness to global trade. The future will be more contentious, with partnership replaced by negotiation. Trade is now about people and their sentiments, not just tariffs and treaties. Canadian consumers have sent a clear message. They can't be taken for granted. This shift in public consciousness will define US-Canada economic relations for years to come.